Thanks so much for joining us. Really excited to hear more about you guys. For our audience that is not familiar with Klarna, tell us briefly a little bit about the company.
Sure. Yeah, so Klarna is one of Europe's leading online payment providers. We based in Stockholm, Swedish heritage, very well established in that market. And we offer merchants access to our checkout solution, which enables them to offer really easy payment methods for consumers to check out, purchasing products in a really user-friendly and convenient way without the need for credit cards or any other payment methods in terms of numbers or
FAF.
Absolutely, yeah.
Might say.
So really easy checkout process, convenient for the customer, and a core part of our proposition is giving them the ability to pay after delivery. So the customer can check out on the merchant site, and they then have 14 or 30 days, depending on the type of products that they're using, to repay, and they get to receive the goods, make sure they're happy with them, and then pay Klarna, and we essentially settle immediately to the merchant. So there's no issue for the merchant in terms of getting paid; they get paid straight away, and Klarna takes on all of the risk around that. So we operate across 18 markets. We have about 45 million consumers who have used Klarna, available in 60,000 odd merchants across those markets as well.
So it's a sort of try before you buy, but for the online world.
Correct.
And what is it that the, somewhere like Finery or Topshop, what is it that they get out of that by using Klarna?
Yeah, so what we're seeing is that given the consumer choice that they have in terms of the ability to pay later, that it means that they actually are more predisposed to put more things in their basket. So it increases the basket size, the average order value that a merchant would see. Mm-hmm. And also, because of the positive experience that they have, we typically see that those customers are more loyal as well. They'll come back and spend more because of the positive experience having received the goods and settled with Klarna in terms of what they actually want to purchase from that merchant. So in some cases, merchants do see a slight increase in returns. But what we see is that's offset by the higher overall basket size and value that the customer actually has as they're checking out.
So would you say if you're taking the hassle out of the kind of online checkout experience for both sides of that? So I'm guessing, an Arcadia will have to put a lot of kind of thought and investment into creating a checkout system when they have to create the rest of their shopping experience, whereas if you guys come along, you can just go in and go, we know how to do this and we will do it well for you.
Absolutely. So we're really focused on how we can make that checkout experience a really positive one for the customer, especially on mobile devices. So our checkout is particularly good in mobile devices where, if you're on the go, you don't want to be putting long numbers into the checkout. Mm-hmm. So it's really optimized and built from that perspective. And so we see it as an area that we can bring a lot of experience and knowledge that enables the retailer to focus on merchandising and the products that they're selling as opposed to that final piece. And for SME merchants in particular, the ability to utilize Klarna and all of the processes that we manage around fraud and actually accepting the transaction on the merchant's behalf and processing it, the fact that they immediately get paid and we're handling all of the risk associated with that transaction, means that they don't have to have risk teams within their business. They can focus on exactly what they are set up to do and to sell to consumers. So we also announced a partnership last year with EKM, which is an e-commerce platform that is really focused on startup businesses and really small niche businesses. And our checkout is particularly good for those businesses where, again, they want to get access to a world-class checkout without needing to invest themselves in managing all of the processes around that.
They just want to crack on and sell their stuff.
Absolutely.
Klarna set up in the UK last year. Tell us a little bit about what's happened over the past year and what's going to happen this year for you guys.
Yeah, so we've actually been in the UK a little bit longer than last year. So we launched about the back end of 2014.
Okay.
But we really came over into the market and decided that we would take our time and understand the differences in terms of e-commerce in the UK versus in Germany or the Nordics.
Is it that different?
Yeah, so
we should come back to this.
A lot of the principles are not really that different.
Yeah.
Obviously, the landscape in terms of merchants is different in terms of pure play versus bricks and mortar, and the different kind of development, the prevalence of Amazon in the UK versus in Scandinavia. So just things like that. So last year I joined Klarna in March last year, and my brief was really to take a lot of those learnings and accelerate the growth of the business in the UK. And we've developed some specific products for the UK market, and things like integrations into a lot of the platforms, Shopify and others, and Magento. So we've developed a lot of the kind of building blocks necessary for us to be able to implement merchants really quickly. So that's kind of what the up until last year has been about. And then we launched our partnership with Arcadia in August last year. And that's just generated so much interest from other merchants who, it's given Klarna in the UK a lot of credibility with other merchants. And so now it's really about building our merchant base, because obviously we need to get more exposure to consumers so that our processing of acceptance and the actual customer coming through our platform becomes more and more efficient the more times we see them and capture data around their transactions. So that's what this year is really about, is onboarding more and more merchants.
And I was going to ask, is the is essentially that your service is kind of supporting the retailer. So if you're a customer, do you realise that you're using Klarna? Is there that familiarity? Are you hoping to grow kind of both at the same time, so that they realise that this is that if they shop with this online retailer, they're going to understand that great, okay, I can use them. I'm familiar with them.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. So it is a balancing act, because we do need to make the consumer aware of Klarna as a brand, because when they transact, the deferment of payment is a payment that has to be made to Klarna, because we settle immediately with the merchant. So that debt, if you like, has to be paid back after 14 days to Klarna. And so it's important that they're aware of who we are, but we very much work with the merchant. So it's co-branded communication that the consumer receives. So you'll receive communication via email from Klarna along with Topshop, so you know that that transaction relates back to your visit to Topshop. And then, so over time, we anticipate that the Klarna brand will become more familiar to consumers, so that when they see us at other merchant sites, they're familiar with us, and also know that they can utilise their Klarna account with other merchants as well.
And talent obviously is, a big thing. You want to find the right talent. There's a lot going on at the moment with, getting the right talent, and obviously Brexit. And I do apologise for mentioning it. Are you still confident that you will be able to, hire the right people that your business needs at this point in time?
Yeah. So we obviously, like lots of digital businesses, talent is challenging to find, and then good people are in high demand, and when there's a concentration of lots of really thriving digital businesses, it just becomes even more challenging. But we're definitely looking to continue to invest in growing our team in the UK. We look to partner with others within the industry to support programs that develop talent in the UK. We do likewise in Stockholm, so we actually recruit globally into Stockholm for a number of our functions. We hire a lot of people from South America, so we really do have a global view on our talent. And we also have a global view on the location of our talent as well. So we're in the process of, part of our expansion is looking at how we bring more engineering resource to London, as opposed to it all being centred in Stockholm. So we're really thinking about how we make the most of all of our different locations. We have another group that's just joined in Berlin, which is focusing a lot around our kind of product innovation areas as well. So and Brexit, obviously, the unknown and uncertainty that it's created causes lots of questions and lots of seminar content that nobody really knows the answers to, but lots of debate around it. And for us, it's just potentially one more piece in the jigsaw of complexity. And Klarna has always thrived in complexity. So be that complexity around banking and access to data, or the complexity of lots of different e-commerce platforms. It creates another barrier to entry potentially, but we see it as another challenge to innovate around. And I think that Brexit will be probably the same. We'll need to think differently in terms of the way in which we operate the business, and just rise to that challenge and take it head on
as it comes, as you know what's happening.
Yeah.
What do you see more broadly going on in fintech at the moment, and kind of down the road, short term?
Yeah. So I think there's obviously been a lot of innovation within fintech, and I think that's only going to continue. And we're seeing on a regular basis, new innovative approaches to challenging a lot of the norms within financial services. And whilst a lot of the legacy financial institutions struggle with, because of the legacy that they have in terms of the structure of their business or the structure of their data, whilst that still exists, I think that innovation is just going to continue. And I think that's really exciting in terms of the particular space that we're in. but more broadly in terms of the opportunity that it creates for new businesses, and the way in which we look at that is that it's a chance and an opportunity for us to partner with lots of other businesses as well. So yeah, we're within the area of financial services we operate within. As innovation happens elsewhere, there's a chance for us to partner and to gain more distribution and add more services to what we do, and how we can enhance the consumer experience, because ultimately that's what it's all about, is addressing some of the poor consumer experiences that have historically been a part of financial services. So yeah, I think it's going to continue to grow and to flourish as more and more barriers get broken down.
And how do you see banks within this world? Because obviously, we talk about fintech, and it's not necessarily just the startups. Banks are involved in parts of this innovation and fostering it as well. How, for you guys, is it a competitor? Is it someone that you work with? How's that relationship for you guys?
Yeah, so I think that there are elements that we're competing with them around in terms of improving the consumer experience that their customers have. But I also think it's good that more and more of them are involved in investing in fintechs and pushing the agenda, because again, it just creates more and more opportunity to think differently and to push the boundaries and to enhance the consumer experience. So we don't directly partner with any banks, but the whole ecosystem, in order to really work effectively, is that you do have to partner in order to integrate with a merchant or process payments. I come from an e-commerce background, not a payments background per se, and that's one thing that's really been quite interesting for me, is that you can be competing with somebody and at the same time partnering with them in other relationships. So a lot of the PSPs are who, in some cases, we may compete with some of our products. In other cases, they're actually distributing our products for us as well, and providing those solutions to their merchants. So I think the whole ecosystem is fascinating, and banks having a more active role at changing and pushing the boundaries is a good thing for the consumer.
Thank you so much for joining me.